Hi, I'm Mike Marino, and this is a brand new episode of Live from My Mother's Basement. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, because this is a pre-recorded show, and we don't even know when it's going to air, especially what time of day or at night. So welcome to another edition of Live from My Mother's Basement. We're in the basement. You can hear the enthusiasm in my voice, because I like doing this from different parts of the world, but there's no better place like being in the basement. It's chilly down here. It's just about to snow outside. And I'm with another Italian paisano from the area of New Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, this is actor Joe Sernio. Yo, what's up, man?
What up, Mike?
Thanks for coming into the basement.
Thanks for inviting me.
Isn't this a small world, how we all get back together after being together, not seeing each other for a while, then you bump into each other in California, in a performance arena, not knowing about what's going on with each other's careers completely, but a little, and then it comes full circle, and then boom, we're in the basement recording the show. Right.
That was a crazy night. I couldn't believe it, the way I bumped into you.
I loved it, and when I saw you, I think I saw you from while I was standing on stage. I'm like, is that Joe Sernio? And he's with Peter Dobson. Oh, my God, Peter Dobson. And, you know, I guess I'm at the point of my own personal career where I get more excited to see who's coming to the show than actually the show.
And what a show it was.
Yes. Well, hey. Why don't we go all the way back in time and find out where you're from, when you got into the show business thing that we do, and what's going on in your world, and then we'll go right to how we bumped into each other after all this time at one of the coolest places in Beverly Hills, California, because it really is. Have you ever been there before?
Once before, but never did I expect to have the time that we had that night. It was one of those in and out type of events. And that was something. This was a night to remember for sure.
Before we go back to where you're from and where you started your career, I do remember bumping into you one other time in the afternoon. I think it was in the afternoon. It was in the hallway of the Paramount Theater, whatever they call it, Convention Hall. And I was hanging around with JJ, who was getting ready to be Santa Claus. He laughed. And I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing? And JJ was dressed like Santa. Maybe he was getting ready to do it. And what were you doing?
Watching JJ pretend to get hit by a golf cart before he played
right?
Santa. But I was. I ran the toy drive.
You did?
For Asbury Park.
So that's why you were there?
Yeah, we actually hired JJ to be Santa.
Yeah.
And, it was an event in itself.
I got to get him on the podcast. He's this crazy, lovable giant from Asbury Park. Will do anything to get a smile from somebody. He needs to be on TikTok.
Yeah, he does. He was on Instagram for a while. I don't know what happened though.
He's just so.
I may have blocked him from all of the news that he was sending me. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, so you're a Jersey guy, right?
I am born and raised in Jersey City.
It seems like everybody's born in Jersey City or comes through Jersey City and then shoots out.
Yeah.
My mother was born in Italy. My father was born in Jersey City. I was born in Jersey City. My brother's all born in Jersey City. Wherever I go, I bump into somebody that says Jersey City. I'm like, damn.
Which section?
I was in the Marion section.
I was in the Heights.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, we would have fought. Where are you from? Well, one part of the Sharks or the Jets.
I remember there's a lot of stories, the McCluskeys, the Sernios, and a couple other people. But my father in Jersey City in the 70s started this thing called Brothers of the Jersey City Heights. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
But it was because of this event that happened. I may be butchering the story, but I'm pretty close. In what was the stadium in Jersey City, the football stadium?
I can't think. You could say it. Roosevelt Stadium.
That's it, Roosevelt. Something happened. There was a fight. Kid got killed. This whole thing happened, and that's when the whole Heights and Marion section started going to war. My father created these shirts, and it was like to protect the Heights and whatnot. And during the pandemic, somebody contacted me and actually had the cutout that my dad used to make that shirt.
Is that right?
And yeah, he's been gone 22 years now, so it was pretty cool to actually get that from back
Yeah.
then. It was cool. But yeah, Jersey, everyone's from Jersey City.
I don't remember the war, but I do remember my father saying, hey, you know, you stay on the block.
Yeah.
You go around the corner, you're going to get killed.
Yeah.
And that's the way we sat on the stoop our whole lives, because if you go around the corner, you're going to get killed. I didn't even know what that meant. And we didn't go around the corner. You had enough friends on one block anyway.
Yeah.
You're in the city. You probably had 12 friends in one building alone.
Yep.
Then you go across the street, you had another 12 friends. But, man, could you imagine that? And the people that would fight back at that time were pretty much all the same color.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It might have been like a lot of Italians.
Yeah, there's a lot of I heard a lot of stories. It's pretty crazy. A lot of good scripts for future scripts.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why there's so many people who go through Jersey City, of course, is because it's basically where everybody was coming when they came over from different parts of the world.
Yep.
That's where the Statue of Liberty is, in Jersey City.
Yeah, that's it. My family came in 1912 or 1914 right to Jersey City.
Right.
From Italy. Yeah. So that's where everyone landed.
Because the Statue of Liberty is sitting in the harbor. And it's on the Jersey side. We could say that. Like right now,
Yeah.
people are going, "No, it's not. It's in New York. No, it's in New Jersey." It depends on the way the wind. If the wind is blowing that way, it's in New Jersey. Okay, but Ellis Island is right?
Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where people came through. Quick story: my uncle's real last name is Mastro Giovanni. When he went through Ellis Island, it became Mastro. He was lucky he kept the O on the end. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Mastro.
Yeah, we were changed too. I just forget what it was.
Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, it wasn't Sernio. It was Sernio or something like that.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, I have some birth certificates and stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
I love memorabilia. I love looking up my family history, and I pretty much got it all down as much as I can, just for shits and giggles and fun. So, born in Jersey City, in the other area other than Marion. Where'd you go from there?
Stayed in Jersey City for a while, and then moved to this little town called Howell, New Jersey. Graduated high school there.
You got to break that down, see, because now we got to let everybody know how many famous people came from these areas. First of all, a lot of famous
Howell?
people came from. Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well,
Jersey City, there's a lot of famous people came from Jersey City.
Jersey City, Newark,
Yep.
Hoboken, Bayonne, and then we're going to go towards Howell, and of course, Asbury Park.
Yes.
I always thought Bruce was born in Howell. Bruce Springsteen. It's not Howell.
Freehold, I think.
was a
right?
freehold guy?
Freehold guy. Howell's, it was a small town, very commercialized now, but I stayed there for a few years, graduated high school from Howell. We had a couple good bigger names in entertainment that I graduated with, which was 98.
Is that right? Who?
Yeah. Tommy Pelfrey is one of them. He was in Ozark and a bunch of other shows there. Who's the Cal Penn? Is that the White Castle guy? I think he was.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was Howell.
Really?
Yeah.
You
yeah,
mean
I
the
think
guy
he
who created
No, he was
White Castle?
the actor.
Oh,
no,
the actor.
No, the actor. Harold Kumar. Yeah. Hung out there for a little while, and then I discovered Asbury Park, and I moved to Asbury Park. I was into acting for a while then. Wasn't heavy into it. I probably got started later after high school, but moved to Asbury Park and kind of traveled back and forth to the city. Left Asbury for a little bit, went to L.A., came back to Asbury Park, and opened my business there, a couple small businesses here and there. Always kind of did the acting thing.
What was the businesses?
Internet, digital marketing. I own Shoreline Media, which is in Asbury and LA right now. And I bought a couple of small businesses, bakeries, believe it or not.
No shit.
Yeah.
Go figure, an Italian guy doing the
Yeah.
bakery thing.
I don't
It's
bake,
so
though.
unheard of.
Yeah.
You didn't?
You know, you wouldn't think it, right? No. I
You don't
bake.
look like a baker, no.
No, I don't bake.
I don't know what it is.
It was just one of those
You're too
things.
skinny.
It was just one of those things I did to kind of, I don't know. I was bored, let's say. I have no idea. But did that.
Be a baker for a while. Look at the one baker who became a superstar. What's his name? The cake boss.
Yeah.
He's a baker.
Yeah. we shot a little bit of The Bastard Sons in the bakery with Al Sapienza.
Oh, no kidding.
The other one who was calling my name that night. I couldn't even believe it.
So cool. We're gonna get to this, folks.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to describe, but it's kind of like a reunion that you didn't know you were going to.
That turned into one of the best
Best nights.
Right? It was
Fun.
incredible. Yeah. Really
Fun,
was.
entertainment, great food, great people, everybody with these big shit-eating grins because it came out of nowhere.
Your standing ovation, which was well deserved. It was great.
Thank you, man. Well, see what happens when you know everybody in the audience. All right, so the acting career started in Asbury Park. So you say the word the city. For all you people out there in different parts of the world, that's Manhattan.
Yes.
Maybe people from this area, we say going to the city because it's a city that's on the other side of the water. You actually go underneath the water and then you're in the city. Most people know it as New York City if you live in Texas or Kansas and different parts of the world. So that's what I did too. You would go from New Jersey into New York to pursue your career. So
with your, I mean, I don't know how it was when you were doing it, but it had my manila envelope. I had my headshot in there.
Yep.
I put it in, and I'd stop at every casting director, and I'd put it on their desk, and
the good old days,
and call it a day. And I did that for a long time. I did it so much that they would basically lock the doors, and I was just leaving it on the front desks of the security guards or whatever. But I was doing that nonstop. I was in the city. I was handing that stuff out, and I remember I wound up getting some background work on As the World Turns for, I don't know, maybe for about a year or something. I was doing a lot of background, and then they had auditions on All My Children. And that was ABC was one of the offices that I was going in, leaving my headshot. So I found out that the casting director, Bob Lambert at the time, was accepting submissions. So I'd go and I'd leave my info, and I finally got an audition, which I bombed and never got it. I wound up getting a second audition, and I remember I landed that audition, the second one I had, that wound up being about 4 or 5 years on the show.
You did 4 or 5 years on a show?
Yeah, I did.
What
about
show?
30 episodes. All My Children.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
I started with soaps.
He's got that look of a soap opera guy. I never had that look.
Started with some soaps and a couple TV shows back then that aren't on anymore.
Soaps are no joke, man. Back in the day,
No.
that was the thing to do. You can get your ass on a soap opera.
Yeah, it was fun. In early, out early. You had to be on point. You know, you had to know what you were doing. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was my first experience too, which was great.
It's a great experience. I guess I was around 19, 20 years old when I did my first under 5. On a soap opera called Ryan's Hope or something like that. There was so many soap operas in the late 70s and the early 80s. And then I had a couple of lines on As the World Turns. And then something happened. They wrote a scenario on As the World Turns for Marissa Tomei. Mm-hmm. Marissa Tomei was in this video scenes with this guy was the boyfriend, another guy was another guy, and a girl. So this scenario was, let's say, the young kids on the show. Then all of a sudden they hire this guy, I forgot what his name was, but he becomes this race car driver. And he's going to challenge that group of people to race cars, right? I played the mechanic.
This was As the World Turns?
Yes. So I go on the show, I played a mechanic. Basically, they beat the shit out of me every time I was on the show. I had a few lines every once in a while, but they had to have the antagonists. Mm-hmm. And then this race car driver had a hot-looking girl. Their race car driver had a hot-looking girl, and Marissa Tomei was on the show. Meg Ryan was a cop on the show.
Oh, wow.
And I just remember going, am I ever going to get any lines? Why do they keep beating me up? But they kept us on the show for a year.
Oh, wow.
For a year. And then one day, I never had a contract. I was never a contracted player. I was a day player that was recurring. Recurring character.
Recurring character. I never had a contract either.
But I never had a contract. I didn't even know if I was ever going to be on the show. I remember recording the show on VHS. You had to sit there and put it in and wait for it to come on and watch it. And then you'd play, you'd hit record and wait for the commercials, then you'd say stop. But if you didn't record right away, you probably missed your scene.
Yep. I still have my VHS.
Is that
tapes.
right?
Oh yeah, I still have my VHS tapes. Yep.
You could
I forget
trade.
how old I was.
You can't download them. You could do it.
No.
Yeah,
You could get them transferred, but they look horrible.
Right.
So it's like you're not going to put them on a reel or anything like that. There's a couple things on YouTube, but
I was on the show for a while, and I do remember I had an opportunity to go to Italy to do a thing called Join the Navy, See the World, and I was going to be the face and the voice of the Navy.
okay.
Is it the Navy? And they said, yeah, we got scenes next week. I'm like, nah, I'm going to Italy. Going to Italy. You're turning down a soap? Well, what was it, $300 a day? This is a lot of money.
yeah.
And and residuals, so I'm going to
I'm
Italy.
going to Italy. Right.
And I left, and I never got back on the show again. But that's great that you were on the soap. And then what?
I was on there for a bit. I started a lot of background stuff there, and then finally got a lot under fives, and I just kept going with that, and then got really heavy into indie film. I did some other shows. Remember, like Hope and Faith? Remember that show? No.
What is it?
It was
A soap opera?
No, it was daytime television. I forget. Shit, who was in it? I forget who was in it.
I think soap operas of the day were the reality shows of today.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the soaps were cool. My mother used to just sit there all day long, and call her friends. Did you see what happened?
Oh, it was probably the same story that was reoccurring since she was a kid.
Right.
It's the same thing.
I can't believe what happened.
No, I did that, and then I did a couple other shows. Love Monkey, you ever hear that one? That was good.
Love Monkey?
Yeah, that was good. That was Jason Priestley, Tom Cavanaugh. It was a good show.
After 90210? Or pre
Yeah, I think
90210?
it was after
Love Monkey?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I played a stage manager on there. And then got really heavy into indie stuff. Did a couple of films, and started getting a little bit heavy into character development, all that other stuff, and then kind of took a pause and needed to make some money, and started the company, and company kind of blew up pretty quick, and I did the business thing for a while, and then got back into acting and producing again, and that's where I'm at now.
Weren't you a big part of the Garden State Film Festival down in Asbury?
Some of the I was there for basically the beginning stages of the film festival, maybe year 2 or 3.
Really?
And I became very close with Diane and Carol, who's no longer with us. But
So
I
you
started
met her
putting my
husband,
films-
Carol Raver?
Oh yeah, Carol was amazing. But I started submitting films. That's how I became close with them, and now 22 years later, yeah, I sit on the board with them.
Is that
Small,
right?
Yeah.
Today?
Yeah. Yep. With Diane and-
Carol Raver was a very well-known commercial director
Yeah.
in New York City.
Yeah.
I didn't know him as a cinematographer.
Yeah.
I knew him because when I was a teenager, I was always doing commercials in New York, and I worked with Carol Raver. And I remember when I met Diane Raver, and she said, my husband is Carol Raver. He directs TV commercials in New York City. I'm like, Arby's? And she goes, yes. I'm going, I didn't. I worked with your
great.
husband.
That's great.
And she actually was the producer on my second performance at Paramount.
Yeah.
With
she
this
was
other
heavy.
lady. I forgot what her name was, but they were a publicity firm and team, and that's how I got acquainted with Garden State.
Well, if the Garden State was probably the biggest event in Asbury too at the time. So yeah, she's amazing. Still is.
So you're still on the
Yeah, I
board
sit
of
on the
that?
board with them. Yep.
How's everything going down there?
Great. I mean, Asbury's Asbury Park. It's nothing close to what it was then, but yeah, it's okay. It's the venues are a little smaller. There's talk about the Paramount opening up again. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, exactly. But we use the old Asbury Lanes and a couple of hotels around there for shows and whatnot. But it's great. It's great sitting on the board with Diane and Lauren and Heather and everybody that I've known for so long. After being a part of the festival as an actor and whatnot, it's just really cool.
It is a great
sitting
feeling.
on
It's
that
great being
festival.
part of this whole thing because Asbury Park is a legendary town, not just for music and actors, but from way back in the day when it was one of the most incredible beaches to go to. If you ever visit Asbury Park and you look at some of the pictures from the 1800s when people actually went to the beach wearing a jacket and a tie and a
suit,
hat,
yeah. Yeah.
It's just pretty amazing. And then, of course, the amusement park was there. I don't know if the real story about the Tilly is true, but it was supposedly somebody was a clown, looked like that. It came from Long Island, didn't come from Long Island. I don't know the story.
I don't know if no. You know who would though? Debbie, maybe.
Yeah.
Wonder Bar Debbie DeLisa. Maybe.
Debbie DeLisa. She was on the show. She owns the world famous Wonder Bar in Asbury Park.
Another great person.
Yes, and then of course the Stone Pony and all those folks over there. So it's kind of nice that we actually became part of that scene.
Yeah.
But not from the music area. I didn't.
No. You know what? I started going to Asbury Park before I moved there. I was on All My Children. I was getting into the indie film, and Asbury Park was still kind of Asbury. Like you didn't want to kind of go and hang out in Asbury Park. So I would rent for like 4 years in a row. I rented the Wonder Bar for a Halloween party, and every year sold it out. And Debbie will tell you the story next time you talk to her. But 4 years in a row, I'd bring everybody from the city down to the Wonder Bar, and we'd throw this huge bash. And we put ice luges in the Wonder Bar. We had bands, and it was the craziest time ever, which quickly, obviously, stopped after a couple of years. But it was fun. That's the fun Asbury Park. I don't, listen, I don't know who's watching now, but I just don't.
Everybody's watching.
It's not the same as it was.
It is and it isn't. We're going to make it our life, our time.
Yeah.
This whole Halloween thing, though, down in Asbury Park is a scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I know JJ's part of all of that, too, and he's creepy as shit already.
I feel like Asbury Park, I feel like Halloween is in Asbury Park every weekend.
Yes.
It's Halloween every weekend.
All really those people down there kind of nutty looking. Dude, I need to go surfing. It's February.
Yeah. It's a great town, but I don't know. I frequent from as you know, like you, there in LA.
Where do you live now?
Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Oh, so you're there.
I have an apartment there. I'm West Coast a lot more. I've been doing a lot. I've been riding. This is fucking weird, but this is kind of a long story, but I just shot a pilot with Davi. And prior to the pilot, there's a couple of scenes in the pilot where I need to run and lope, as they call it, a horse, which I've never ridden.
I never heard the term. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
a lope.
You're running. You kick the fucking horse and you just go.
You run. Sitting on the horse.
Well, sitting, but I guess
running
they call
next to it.
No.
You lope when you're next to it.
Loping.
You elope when you're on top.
I want you to do a slow lope. That's all I kept hearing in my head. Anyway,
really?
It was I had to learn how to ride a horse, and there's scenes where we had the steady cam or whatever, and I'm running through the fields on this horse. So prior to shooting for about 7 months, I was back and forth to Colorado. We shot on a ranch in Colorado, and I was training on riding a horse, and I fell in love with riding a horse. I never knew that you can actually communicate with a horse. And if you bond with that horse, you can actually like talk. It's the craziest thing ever. Like if the ears go up, the horse likes you, and it's like whatever. I got to the point where I would go up to the horse, and the horse would put her head on my shoulder and just lean on me and whatever. So we bonded. We really, really, really bonded.
No shit.
So I have an apartment in Asbury, but ever since we shot for the last 9 months, I've been in Colorado every single month on the same ranch, hanging out, riding horses.
With your horse?
With my horse. Yeah.
Does he remember you every time you go?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Great. Yeah. We it's great. It was a cool experience. But I also work a couple of times too. Like I fucking get the sheep out and I separate the babies and all that shit.
What, for research?
Yeah. No, just for fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Gather all the eggs with the chickens. It's great.
Joe, what do you do? I'm an egg collector.
You should have saw Davi's face when we brought him out into this Cortez, Colorado ranch.
Right.
It was pretty.
He seems like he's such a New Yorker. Maybe he don't belong.
He got out of the car. He goes, "What the fuck am I doing here?"
Right.
That's what he said.
Oh,
I said, "Don't worry, you'll be all right."
Tell us about this pilot then. How did it start? How'd you get it?
I shot a film called Loved. I don't know if you saw Loved.
Loved?
Did you see Loved? Yeah.
I have not.
No, I'll send it to you.
We all need to watch a film called Loved.
Loved. It's on its 68th award right now. And there was a couple of people at L.A., a couple of L.A. people that really fell in love with the film and kind of asked what else you had and whatever. And I showed them this modern-day Western pilot that I had. DJ Higgins is the writer, and he wrote this after we started filming Loved. And he said, "Wow, this would be really, really cool." And we went out and we filmed it. And Dobson and I actually wound up location scouting, found this beautiful location in Cortez, Colorado, and created this modern day Western that we're going to turn into a pilot. And we got a couple of big contacts that really liked what we have, and we're going to start pitching it once we're done with 2 major networks with contacts that we have. So
once you're done filming the pilot?
But no, once we're done editing, everything's done. Everything's done. We're filmed. We have the pitch deck, everything's set. We're just going through edits right now. So first cut, now we're making some smaller adjustments.
What is the name of the pilot?
Horsepower.
Horsepower?
Horsepower, yeah. Davi plays Sheriff Jones.
All right, so let's explain this to everybody. And we got to mention his name, too, because he's been texting me, Malik.
Oh, Malik? He's great.
Yes. And your other friend that was supposed to be here tonight.
Kevin Interdonato.
Yeah.
Kevin, him and I did a film that's playing Saturday, The Bastard Sons. Feature film, which right after we were done with that, that's where I shot. I went and shot Loved. And then when I was done with Loved, Malik, who was in The Bastard Sons, hooked him up, and I said, "Hey, I got this pilot. I really want you to play the deputy in here." And he came out to Cortez, Colorado, too.
I thought Malik directed it.
No. DJ directed Horsepower. Malik played Deputy Kiefer, and he was opposite Davi.
Wow, man, this is super fucking cool as shit.
I mean, that's why that whole story is why that night in Beverly Hills made it so much more special, that we were all there and we had no idea that we were all there. We really didn't.
Oh, really?
Like, it was insane. But
Peter Dobson is a Jersey boy, and he's been in a lot of television projects. He's been in a lot of movies. Peter Dobson used to hang around at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, and that's how I met him, because he was friends with this guy, Luca Palenka, and they did this movie called Choose Life, which is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And Peter used to come to shows all the time, and I hadn't seen him in years and years and years. Robert Davi's been in a shitload of movies, one of the biggest franchises, or what I don't even know what you would call it, Goonies.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't make a part 2, but they do have mass amounts of memorabilia that you can get. He's one of the antagonists in the movie Goonies, and then he was probably one of the most evil characters of all James Bond movies, called Ice. What was his?
GoldenEye, was it? No.
No. He's in the most famous. Shit, it's gonna come to me. It's a 007 movie.
I don't know which one it was.
It'll come to me.
All right.
But he plays an evil character in it, and then he's been on to many, many movies, and now he does a whole big Sinatra review show, and I've been lucky enough to be his opening act and friend, and we've been doing a lot of shows together. And you mentioned Malik is also an actor. I thought he directed your pilot that you were talking about. So it's pretty amazing how we were associated in this light of knowing each other, and then miraculously Robert Davi was doing a performance at a place called Vibrato in Beverly Hills. It's actually not Beverly Hills, but a more expensive place to live.
Oh, Bel Air.
Yeah, it's on the tip of Bel Air. You got to go over Mulholland Drive, but it's Vibrato, and Vibrato is owned by and his kids run it. Herb Albert's Vibrato Grill Jazz. Now, there's only just the greatest jazz players and performers perform at this place. You very seldom would see a comedian unless the comedian was opening for a singer. I was lucky enough to open for Robert Davi, Dean Martin's daughter Dina, Sal Valentinetti, a bunch of different cats over at this place. And we hadn't been there in a long time because of the pandemic. Robert Davi moved to Florida, which broke my heart because I technically live in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I'm in North Hollywood. So he called me up on that, whether it was a Wednesday or Thursday, and he goes, "Gee, what are you doing tonight?" I go, "I'm kicking it with you at Vibrato." He goes, "I'll see you over there." So he didn't tell anybody I'm coming because after doing it so many times, when the audience sees me pop out, they start cheering, and that's the greatest feeling for me because they're like, he brought Mike.
That's cool.
Right? And then I see you all sitting in the room, and I'm like, oh, fuck, who am I going to roast? Who am I going to roast?
It was just one of those. It was just one of those nights where, like, it was. I mean, Dobson. Like, you go out with Dobson, he knows everybody, right? Like, Dobson knows absolutely everybody. And I'm fortunate enough to be very, very tight with Dobson. He helped produce Horsepower. He helped produce The Bastard Sons. He helped produce Loved. He's just one of those guys. And when I told him that I was gonna, because there was a couple people I was talking to about the sheriff for Horsepower. I was talking to Frank Stallone and a couple other people, but Davi is the one that I saw as the sheriff, and I told Dobson or whatever. He's like, yeah, well, reach out to him and tell him I'm producing it because we go back and whatever, and I did, and that's that. And when it was all said and done, we had Malik and Dobson on set. Dobson had played a part on there as well, and then Davi, and it was just whatever. But Davi's just this down to earth guy. Like I've just never realized it to the point where we talk constantly. We're on the phone, we're text, whatever, and he's just a sweetheart. But he calls me up and he says, I'm doing a show in Beverly Hills, and I just happened to be there with Pete, and I was going to Fresno to start playing around with Horsepower and edit Horsepower and whatnot. That's where the studio is. And he says, Davi's like, oh, you got to come out if you're going to be there. I said, yeah, absolutely. So Pete and I got the table, whatever. So I know when I go out with Dobson, I'm going to bump into all of these people at Dobson know, right? This is like, everyone's like, Pete. And they all have stories, crazy stories, right?
He's crazy.
The second we walk in there, we saw Nick and a bunch of other guys, and everyone's telling stories or whatever. So I said, okay, Pete, I'm going to go sit at the table. And as I go to the table, I see you walking down the steps, and I'm like, Marino? Now the craziest part is, I haven't seen you in a while. But the craziest part is that prior to Loved and Horsepower, I did a film which is coming out in January. Got picked up by a big studio, The Bastard Sons. Now in the film was myself, Frankie Edgar, Malik Whitfield, Kevin Donato, all the guys. It's Kevin's production. He did a phenomenal job. Then I got Malik in Horsepower or whatever. So I walk in, I see you. Then Malik's there with his wife. Then Davi starts calling my name, right? Then I'm walking through the crowd and I hear Sernio and Al Sapienza sitting at the other table, who I did The Bastard Sons with. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? But it was one of those nights that you just didn't expect all that was going to happen. That turned out to be one of the greatest events that I've went to in a long time. Because I don't go out, I don't do much. But your performance, Davi's performance, and everyone that was there was just magical. It really was, right? I mean, it was one of the best shows I've ever been at.
I just
couldn't believe everyone that was there. Yeah. It was wild.
He mentioned a few other characters. We have a mutual friend who's an Oscar winner, and his name is Nick Villalonga. And Nick comes to the vibratos all the time when Davi's there. In fact, maybe I won't mention that, but Nick lost his brother a year ago this week. So anyway, and I don't know when this is going to air, so that's not going to make any sense. But if you've seen the movie Green Book, which was a phenomenal movie, all about Nick's family. So Nick Villalonga was at this particular show. And it's fun because if you remember when Robert Davi was on stage and he was yelling at the people at the bar to shut up, he was telling them to shut up.
Out Nick the whole time.
Because they were all talking to Nick and they were going crazy that he was there.
Yeah.
So he kind of like bit his nose to spite his face because he goes, here's my friend Nick Villalonga who won an Oscar for the movie Green Book. And all the girls went right over to Nick.
Yeah.
And then he started talking. He goes, can you shut up? I'm like, well, you shouldn't have said that.
Right. You shouldn't have called him out. Right.
But spectacular night, a lot of fun. And also you mentioned Al Sapienza, who I would like to get to come down the basement. I don't know him. I know of his work. I don't know him personally.
Yeah.
But that night, he come over, he goes, you're Mike Marino. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I'm Al Sapienza. I'm like, well, we were supposed to do a show together.
Right.
It just never happened.
Yeah. He's one of the...
I think it's going to happen now.
He's great.
One hell of an actor, huh?
Yeah, he helped us out. The Bastard Sons. He was he played one of the main one of the main roles in there as one of the bosses. But he absolutely killed it.
So tell us about the projects then. So the Bastard Sons is going to be in the Dances with Films Film Festival. Of course, we don't know when this is going to air, but that happens to be this weekend, December 3rd?
Yeah, 2nd. It's playing Saturday and the
December
2nd.
2nd.
And it's going to be it's the last film festival before the film comes out in January. And then...
so it's a full-length feature.
Yes.
The Bastard Sons.
Yep.
Yeah. And your friend, who you mentioned, Kevin
Internadonato, yep.
He actually called me yesterday. Well, he didn't call me, sent me a text.
About the invite for the private event that we're doing, right?
No.
What's
he
that?
sent me a text saying, hey, did you hear about Nicky Newark?
Oh, that's right.
We're
the
not
other
going to
film.
make the project. And I'm reading it going, I don't know who this is. And Nicky Newark, is that the guy who... There's a guy in California who calls himself Nicky Newark. He's a comedian. And I'm like, what do you mean? Did he and I think he said it died. And I'm like, the guy died?
The project died. Yeah.
The guy died. I'm thinking it was a guy. And then I'm realizing,
the project?
Yes. So when he was saying this, I'm like, hey, listen, Joe Sernio's coming on my podcast. Why don't you come over?
Yeah.
So I called him and I said, why don't you come over? He was supposed to come here tonight.
Yeah. I think he had to run to Cranford or something like that.
Were you part of that project, Nicky Newark?
No, I was not. No, that was all Kev.
What was Kevin doing on it?
He was acting.
It was acting in it.
Yeah. I think he was.
I think I had a small role in it. I don't even remember.
Yeah, he met. I mean, this is a while back. He mentioned that you had a part in it. Remember that?
Man, that is cool as shit.
Well, and Kevin and I, we grew up together. A Howell kid, and we lived in Belmar together as well. Just like
Belmar, the party town. Watch out, 1986, baby.
Yeah.
Jeez, I wish I was 21.
It wasn't 86, but
pretend. Okay, so then the other project, the one with Davi and the horses, where's that at?
That's being edited now. Loved was prior to that. That's the one that's I did like a lot of like soaps and television and a couple of films prior to that. Even the Bastard Sons, I kind of played just average Joe type stuff, and I wanted something really, really. I wanted something different, something I can really, develop a character off of. So a friend of mine wrote Loved, which was completely different than anything I've ever done before. Jumped right onto that after the Bastard Sons. That wound up taking off in a lot of the festivals now. We went to Italy with it, which another crazy story. We won a couple of awards in Italy, and who's in the crowd? Al Sapienza.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Isn't that a great feeling, man?
Oh, it's incredible. But that little film took us all over the world. A lot of recognition, and then from there we jumped right on to Horsepower, which is a pilot presentation. It's about 45 minutes. Loved was shot in Joshua Tree, and Horsepower shot in Cortez, Colorado. So we're in the editing stages of that now, and then we're going to start pushing it a little bit.
So they actually trained you how to ride a horse, or you knew?
Yeah, no. I mean, I know how to get on. I don't know if that's riding, but yeah, I trained for a horse for a couple months.
There's some history for a lot of people. A lot of people don't know this. One of the biggest equestrian areas in New Jersey is Freehold.
Yeah.
Freehold Raceway, and there's a lot of people down there who ride and train and I guess board horses and stuff like that. I'm not familiar with that whole thing, but
yeah, I've noticed that I have I'm in the Poconos a lot. I have a house up there. And,
watch it, he's making money.
Yeah, right.
Got a house in Poconos.
That was my last. $150 that I from the soap operas.
Poconos is great, man. I don't know about going up there in the winter.
Oh, it's cold, but
and Sasquatch lives up there. He's an Italian
nice
fella.
Nice and quiet up there. But yeah, I don't know. They have a couple farms and horses out there too. I just realized I didn't know that. But Freehold Raceway is a big one.
Great locations up there to shoot like a creature movie, I think, in the Poconos.
Do a nice horror flick up
there.
there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You could shoot it and nobody will even know you're there.
We shot a little bit of Bastard Sons up there.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Bastard Sons.
We'd go into those we had one off day, and myself, Malik, and Frankie Edgar went into one of those it was like a dive bar. And everyone knew who Frankie was, and they wound up shutting the bar down or whatever. But it's cool going into the little dive bars like that with someone like Frankie and experiencing that. But the Poconos is it's fun and it's weird too at the same time.
The Poconos, I think, at one time was like the greatest place to go. I think they used to do the commercials all the time. Beautiful Mount Airy Lodge, and then you'd see a bunch of people sitting in a tub with suds.
Oh, the heart
shaped like
tubs.
a heart.
Yeah.
Shaped like a heart. You gotta come.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can almost smell how bad the room must have been by watching the commercial.
With the upside down pineapple
Yep.
flags hanging behind you.
So you're in the crazy world of entertainment. I always say entertainment because I never wanted to be a comedian. I set out as an actor like everybody else. All I wanted to be was Robert De Niro. And, you know, when you're a teenager, you make some money and you think everything's going to be great. Then you're in your 20s and you can't get arrested and you're working at Home Depot. At the end of your 20s, you start telling jokes and you can't make enough money, and then you end up working as a waitress. And I could say waitress now because that's the fair way to do it. But then all of a sudden I'm doing stand-up and I can't stop and I love it and that's all I really want to do. And then I started getting movie roles by being a live performer.
There you go.
Every time I was performing, well, a lot of the times that I got a role in something is because I was doing stand-up somewhere and somebody said, hey, you know, we're doing, and away I went.
Yeah.
And now I want to just write, produce, direct, and put out all my own projects and work with people like yourself, because that thing that we felt, that we experienced at that place, Vibrato, is so exhilarating.
Yeah.
That you know you're amongst, I felt like I was amongst all the A-listers in that room.
It was a cool vibe.
And it's like, yeah, we're all here. We could do this. And nobody had an ego.
No.
Everybody was like, holy shit, how you doing? And everybody respected everybody's
Oh, yeah.
place in the food chain. You know, when I went in the green room and I was like, yo, what's up, G? Let's hit this shit. I hadn't seen him in a long time because of the pandemic and whatnot. And then Nick Villalonga comes in the room, and Davi goes, Nick, are you familiar with Mike? And he goes, you out of your fucking mind. Who doesn't know Mike? And I'm like, thank you very much. I'll take the chicken. It's fun, though, huh?
Oh, it was fun.
And he called your name out in front of everybody.
Oh, Davi? Yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy, man. I never expected to become that friend. I mean, look, you don't expect anything, you know? It's just the way things work out.
Oh, before you know it, you'll be working more and more and more amongst your peers. But the one thing that'll be cool about it is you actually like each other.
Yeah.
And there's no rivalry or ego.
When I started taking it seriously, not that I never took acting seriously, but I never experienced what I've experienced over the last few years with producing and creating my own content and putting it together myself and funding it myself and putting all these things together. I never really experienced that part of it. And when I did Loved, it was, again, a completely different character than I've ever done before. That's when I really started falling in love with the craft itself, acting itself, and kind of went full force. That kind of pulled me into meeting all these guys.
I don't know where I was or how I saw it, but I did see a clip of your project, and I'm like, wow, man, this guy looks like a cowboy.
Oh,
you had that look down.
Horsepower. It was wild. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Did you change your accent? You really don't have an accent.
No.
I have a Jersey accent.
Howell Township pulled it out of me when I left Jersey City.
It might have. Yeah, born and raised in Jersey City, you're going to have that accent. Howell, maybe it doesn't.
Howell seems more like a cowboy type, Western, whatever.
Does it really?
Yeah. No, I didn't change my accent. Pete did. Dobson did. I don't know why, but he did. It sounded good, but no, I didn't.
Oh, did he really?
Change it, yeah.
I would love to do that. Howdy, you's doing, stupid.
I'll show
That's
you.
my southern. Howdy,
How you doing,
asshole.
stupid?
Get off my foot. I'll kick you with my shoe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd love to do a southerner one of these days. I'd love to
We
lose
gotta
30
get you in
pounds.
maybe episode 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get you in. As
I
long as
would
it
love
goes
to.
well.
I
You know, I
want to bond with a horse.
You should. It's the craziest thing ever, I swear. Chickens, goats. I mean, there's this goat that I'm in love with. His name is Latte. He comes up and you feed him organic chips, and he just sits there and he lets you pet him. And
Really?
yeah, they raised this goat with the cats and the dogs because it didn't want to be with the others, and the thing thinks it eats cat food, it eats dog food, and it just hangs out with the dogs and the cats. So when in the mornings, if we go out and we separate the babies and the others and let them out into the fields, there's the Incredibles, and then there's the edibles. So we take with Latte, and Latte just hangs out with all of us and whatever. Because when I go there, sometimes I'll actually like work. I'll wake up in the morning and just work because it's fun.
Well, whose place is it?
It's these Gary and Ming Adams, who I met, last year when I was location scouting, and we just became extremely close. We shot the pilot. We rented the whole ranch, shot the pilot, and we just stayed tight with them. This ranch.
How come you went out there? Why didn't you get a ranch here in Jersey?
Why shoot something?
You don't want to rat on nobody.
Why shoot something? I don't know.
Well,
It's like loved the Joshua Tree, and I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And it's like, well, let me do something even more crazy. Let me shoot something in Cortez, Colorado that you have to take 3 planes to get to, and it just made the scene. It made the.
You had to do the puddle jumper thing.
Yeah, except Dobby. Dobby told me if I put him on a puddle jumper, he was going to kill me. So
really,
yeah. So I put him on a little bit bigger than the 8-passenger. I think I put him on.
Oh no, shit!
Yeah.
It's that remote, huh?
It's extremely remote. Cortez, yeah. It's on this little. The ranch sits on 2,000 acres of ancient ruins, and these ancient ruins date back to 1200. So when you're hiking the back of the ranch, you're finding pieces of pottery and stuff from way back in the day. It's
Shit!
Fucking incredible. Became really tight with the owners. We've been back every month. Had a nice party there. Little Thanksgiving birthday dinner last week with them, and then flew home. And one of the ranch manager's daughters just had a baby, and we're gonna go back and see her in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's cool. Sounds like a great place.
I gotta show you
And
some
then you could
pictures.
find a goat named
Latte
that identifies as a kitten.
Right.
It's interesting.
Kitten, dog. Yeah. Latte, or they have some weird names. The dog's name is Booger. The dog's name is Booger.
Somebody get this booger off my finger.
Dobson did have fun with that. I have a picture of Dot. It's me, Pete, Booger, and 3 kids. And I remember the picture exactly. I said, Pete, why don't you show the kids how you dance like Elvis? And he scared the shit out of these kids so much. It was a crazy fellow. I'll show it to you when we're done with the picture.
Does a good Elvis?
Oh, he kills Elvis. Yeah, he does great Elvis.
What is the movie he's in that he actually does Elvis? It was a very famous movie. Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. He played Elvis, and then he did a really, really good film called Protecting the King. I think it was about Elvis's stepbrother or something like that, but he played Elvis.
Is that right?
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a hell of an actor, Pete.
When I said to him at Vibratos, I go, "Hey Pete, do you remember me?" I don't know if he was going to punch me. He goes, "What do you mean? Do I remember you?
Yeah.
Are you crazy? I fucking love you, dude." I'm like, "Don't make out with me. Just kiss me on the cheek. Don't." He fucking grabbed me. I'm like, "Ow, ow!
Great.
All right."
Yeah, he's great.
Guys, you got to check this guy out, Peter Dobson. I remember he had his own series for a while. I think he played an undercover cop that was a mobster at one time.
Cover Me.
Cover Me?
Yeah.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he was up and coming, Pete. He still is.
He still is. We're all up and coming, and we're not stopping. We're in showbiz till the day we die. Tell everybody where they could see these projects.
The Bastard Sons. You can. We're having a private event, but that'll be released on all platforms in January. Loved is still in the festival circuit through 2024, and hopefully Horsepower you'll see soon. WatchHorsepower.com is the website. You can check out some stuff there.
That's a cool.
Watch
That's
Love.
a cool. Watch Horsepower.
Yeah, that's.
You can't forget that. WatchHorsepower.com.
That's it.
How does everybody follow you on social media?
Joe Sernio. That's it. JoeSernio.
Joe Sernio.
That's it.
We're going to take a bite of some sandwiches because I want to do a nice shout out to my friend Clementine from Italy. He's from Naples, Italy. He gave us some sandwiches to have as a snack. He has a nice Italian food truck right here on Ontario Road in Plainfield. It's called Big C's Italian Food Truck. So I know you enjoyed your sandwich, but I'd like to take a nice big bite of mine.
Is that the hot dog French fry?
No. He's got all incredible sandwiches, and they're over there on the table. But we both picked the same identical one, which is this chicken cutlet sandwich.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Look at the monster fucking sandwich right there. Shabam. How badass is that? I love when I talk to Clementine because his accent is so thick from Italy. I don't even know what he's saying half the time, but I know he means love.
How long has he been here for?
I don't even know. He's probably been here his whole life. He still has that Italian accent. Michael, you come on over, get that. And you're like, oh, I'm fucking hungry. Give me a sandwich.
He's from Jersey City, right?
Yeah, he's from a little town in Italy called Jersey City. Not the Heights where they started the war.
Yeah, right. Brothers.
Big C's Italian Grill food truck. It's badass, ladies and gentlemen. If you happen to be in the Scotch Plains, the Plainfield area, stop by and say hello to my man who makes the most incredible sandwiches. Big C's food truck, 908-403-3172, 200 Terrell Road, Plainfield, New Jersey.
Delicious.
So damn good.
I'm going to eat the other half.
He's got the other half. Its sandwiches is so big. I love food. Food is my biggest problem because I'm gaining too much weight. And wherever I go, a lot of people say, hey, can you bite my sandwich on your show? I'm like, oh, man, I'm fucking fat. All right, pay me.
There you go.
Let's get personal real quick before we get going.
Yeah.
Married, kids, never been married, single, want to get married?
Never been married, no kids, have a girlfriend. And I spend more time with my pup, Holly Girl.
You want to talk about that?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I'll talk about the dog. Holly.
You want to?
My lab. I raised her since she was a pup, but no, never married, no kids. I have a girlfriend. We travel a ton, and
is she an actress?
Living life. No, she's not. She did help produce Horsepower, but no, she's not an actress. She was a nurse. Yeah.
Isn't it funny sometimes when guys tell each other what their girl does for a living? There's a different reaction every single time. Watch this. What's your girlfriend do? She's a nurse. Ooh, she's a nurse. Right? Here's one more. What's your girlfriend do? She's an airline stewardess. Oh, yeah. What's your girlfriend do? She's a waitress. Oh, yeah. What's your girlfriend do? She's a doctor. Ooh, she's going to take you. I don't know.
There is a different reaction.
How about this one? What's your girlfriend do? She's an actress. Oh, do you want a gun? You want to shoot yourself?
Yeah.
What do you do? I'm a comedian. What's your girlfriend do? She's a stripper. Come on, what are you, stupid? When she gets off work, so do I. Man, I want to thank you so much for coming down to the basement and hanging out. It's been a long time. I have a funny feeling we're going to stay in touch now. We're going to end up doing some projects together.
Absolutely.
We're going to call all our friends and say, guess what we did? And too bad you weren't there. We're going to take some pictures and send it to our friends and say, hey, man, we need to have a reunion at Vibrato and in California.
Well,
actually, we should do the Paramount.
I would absolutely. I can
and
host it.
I would do it with Davi, and he brings a
incredible.
22-piece orchestra, and the sound, his voice, that could be a big night.
Does he use those same guys in Florida? No, they don't. The ones that were.
I would assume if he did something in New Jersey, he would just bring maybe two guys that he works with all the time, and then you got to get the band. But we should do the Paramount, or we should do the Count Basie and Red Bank, and bring out 1,200-1,300 people to watch a big show.
Yeah.
And if you want to host a show and come out in a nice tuxedo and be part of the Rat Pack,
that'd be incredible.
Make you feel good.
That'd be incredible.
And then when the show's over, sing the last song with the band.
I have to take some singing lessons.
Nah, you fake it. That's what I do. I shut the microphone off and I pretend, New York. Goodbye, everybody.
I'll do it. Let's do it. We should plan it.
All right, we're going to make that happen.
Once the Paramount opens, we'll plan it.
I hope.
Yeah.
Legacy, legendary place.
Yeah, that'd be
all legendary places, theaters, and places to get together with great entertainers and have some fun. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank my guest, Joe Sernio, for coming down to the basement and having some fun, biting into a sandwich, telling us about what's going on in his career. He's got a big career, and he's going to keep on going. And before you know it, he'll come down the basement and say, hey, Mike, I brought the Oscars with me. I'm like, oh, hey, put them on the bar.
Put them right back there.
Put it over there. All right? We're going to get going. Thank you so much, Joe Sernio, for coming down to the basement.
Pleasure.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, big shout out to my producer, Tatiana Blue Shell, for always making sure we have a great podcast with a great guest who comes down to the basement and enjoys kicking it with us. Let's make America Italian again. You know my motto. You don't know nothing, you don't see nothing, and you don't say nothing. And how do I end every single one of my podcasts? By saying the same thing alongside with my guest. You ready? Don't take no shit from nobody. Ready? Don't take no shit from nobody. Bye. Bye, everybody. Hey, folks, I hope you're enjoying watching my podcast live from my mother's basement. We're having a lot of fun, and I'm going to have a lot of great guests on the show in the future. So if you like it, hit like. You could also leave a comment. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch other funny videos. And you could also listen to my podcast on your favorite podcast app like Spotify and iTunes.